Happy Nanowrimo, everybody, and in this episode of The Story Detective, you're going to find out either one of two things. Either how great stories are born, or the consequences of convoluted decision-making. I'm not really sure which, and I guess this Nanowrimo will decide the outcome on that for sure, but I did not start out planning to write the project that I'm currently working on, and that's a bit of a story in itself. Stick around. If you like this video, if you want to follow throughout the month this journey and series of my happenstance and erratic decision making to get this novel done at the last minute, then subscribe. If you have any questions now or throughout this little adventure, leave them in the comment section below and we'll talk about it. In order to fully appreciate this story, we have to time travel back to the second half of September. I don't remember the exact date, but I know it was in the second half of the month. What I was planning at that point was to write a nonfiction project for Nanowrimo. And this is a project that I've been considering for a while. So I'm looking on their website and I discovered that the November Nano has to be fiction. It can be anything that involves fiction, but it has to be fiction. Within the past few months, a couple of ideas that kind of came out of the woodwork, and they were good ideas. Ideas that I thought I would want to work on at some point. As I'm going through my debate, I pick up one of those ideas and I start looking at it in terms of world building aspects. And suddenly I'm coming up with a lot of stuff. And it's looking kind of interesting. So within the last week or so of September, I'm considering this, and the world building is adding up. I'm diving down a rabbit hole where the world building and the mythos around my story is grabbing my attention and saying, this could be interesting. This is different. Would I had arrived at those points if I didn't have the convoluted mess of thinking and step back from the story that I was planning and randomly pick up an idea that I had over the summer? I don't know. I could have just written my ideas down and left it alone and let it gestate for another day. Essentially, I'm getting into October now and I have 30 days to plan this. So I've wanted to read Save the Cat, and the copy that I ordered just around this time when I got it was another aha moment. Okay, I have 30 days to plan. I have a book on structure with 15 beats that everybody said is a great book. And it is. So why not do my vlogs planning my Preptober with Save the Cat and coming at it from completely out of left field. But I don't essentially have characters. And I don't have a plot that's going together. I have a lot of interesting myth. So did Save the Cat work when I started getting into that book? Actually, for the plot, it worked great. I think it was about 2 weeks. So now I'm sitting in the middle of October and I have a plot all mapped out based on my myth. So the stage is set. The plot is there. There are no characters because Save the Cat isn't a book to create characters. Usually I live with my characters for a while. This is where I take about a month and a half, maybe 2 or 3 months, and I live with the characters and I ponder the questions about their lives and their existence, and I start putting everything together. If I have that, then I know that I have the players and I can set the stage for them. Now you can come at a story any way you like. I'm not saying there's a better way or a worse way. But for me, writing a story, if I have the characters down, even if I don't have my world completely as detailed as I want it to be, that for me is the decoration. If I know what the basic concept is and I know who the characters are, I can put together a first draft with character interaction and get all that emotional core down. And for me, that is the heart of everything, because if you can get the emotional interactions between the characters, that to me is a foundation that everything else can be built on. Because you can decorate your world any way you want, but if you don't have the emotion that comes through your characters, then you basically have a Hollywood movie. So you have to either do that work after you have your plot in hand, and then how do you know once you start figuring out the background of your characters that it's not going to completely change your plot? I think it's just easier because once I have the characters, the plot molds around them and their needs and their wants. If I'm thinking of a plot and it's just all cool ideas, I'm either going to have to fit the character into those ideas and work around it and limit myself and keep everything in a tight little box, or that box is going to break. So my solution was this book, Dynamic Characters by Nancy Kress. And here is another story of convoluted decision making, or maybe just bad decision making. I bought this book years ago and I never read it. In fact, shortly after I bought it, I was talking to some friends who wanted to write, and they were having a lot of problems with character. So for me, and I've done this more times than I care to think about it, I picked up the book and I said, here. I never rebought the book. I had other books, and I didn't think that this one would be any different or any better. As time went along, what I did know from skimming over this book is right in the center is a detailed questionnaire, and it almost becomes a workbook for answering all these questions on your character's story. There's like 16 pages, I don't know if you can see that, of all these questions that go from birthplace to eye color to everything you could imagine about your character's existence, their place of birth, their family, their habits. It's a really detailed workbook. And I thought something like that could be handy. I know there's places that you can go online that has some of this stuff, but when I'm writing, I prefer to have hard copy workbook in front of me. I just do a better job when I have something I can carry around with me. Sometimes it's good just to kick back and to have that hard copy. At least that's what works for me. So I ordered up the book. This arrived just past the middle of October. So we're getting somewhere into the second half. So I've got about a week and a half, give or take, to work through this book and character stuff. Everything has been drastically on the fly. But I have to say, if you're looking for reminders, there's some good chapters in here. There's some good things about character. I think that Nancy Kress in this book is saying the right things to push you in the right direction, to prompt you to think about all those things so you don't have to spend months doing it yourself. Looking back at the book that I gave away, I think this would be the perfect companion for something like Save the Cat when you're doing Nanowrimo, just because it has so much information. So I would definitely recommend this book. We need those schematics and diagrams and things to jog our brain, because even if it's all in there, you need to find the right information to pull up at the right time and the right things to dig for, and sometimes where to dig. So I guess if there was a moral to all of this, it's how to write a novel in 30 days and how to plot your novel in 30 days. So this could technically be a 60-day plan for writing a novel. And I have to say that these two books together really do accentuate one another well. This gives you a great foundation for characters, and this gives you a great foundation for plot. And they both have a lot of prompts and suggestions to get ideas going. I think to find books that both happenstance brought them together in terms of getting a lot of prompts for both, it's rare, because you can read through writing books that have like a good idea here and a good idea there, and they give you a lot of the same information, and you seem like you're going miles to get to that information. These were very concise, very to the point, and always informative. So definitely for your Nanowrimo or just books to have on your shelf, I would definitely recommend both of these. They are going to continue to be my reference books for this Nanowrimo journey. So we will see how this journey unfolds as it goes along, and that's what this month is going to be about. So I hope you'll stick around, and I hope you'll join me for the journey, and we'll find out together. Until next time, keep those keyboards clacking, and hope your stories are going well. Take care.